So my name is Emily Wildhaber, and I'm interviewing Angela Zeiler. Angela Zeiler at the Inglewood Arts Center in Independence, Missouri, as part of the Midwest Genealogy Center's Community Archiving Day. And today is May 17th, 2025. Okay, Angela, what is your connection to the Inglewood Theater?
My connection is my mom and dad were friends with Tuffy and Karen Williams and their mom. So I grew up with all the kids, little Tuffy and Sarah and all of them, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Can you tell me about that?
Well, we got to know them through our church, and my dad became really good friends with Big Tuffy, because my mom and dad, they would sing, they traveled a lot, and Tuffy played the guitar, the piano, and we just got really close. We'd go and hang at their houses, and then eventually I ended up getting employed there through Tuffy's mom. She actually hired me. I ended up working there.
At the theater?
Yeah, at the theater. And it was like Friday nights after I got out of school, because I went to Van Horn High School. And when I got out of school, I would come down here and work until like 1 or 2 in the morning on Fridays.
What did you do?
I worked concession stand or whatever needed to be done, yeah.
What do you remember most?
I remember most is all the people that I got to meet. I got my love for country music, that old country music, because of working in that environment. And still to this day, I love listening to like Johnny Cash and people like that, yeah.
Were you able to see shows while you were?
Oh yeah, my mom and dad were actually part of the shows at time. Tuffy would play the piano and my mom and dad would sing with Loretta Lynn. Yeah.
That's amazing, yeah.
It was really fun actually meeting all of those people. And I was here at the time too when Garth Brooks got his start here, yeah.
I've heard rumors about that. Will you tell me the full story?
Well, he started out just a small singing on the stage. He got his start here. I only got to see him a few times. I didn't get to see him every time he came in town. He became really good best friends with Karen and Tuffy Williams. And because of that, I tell a lot of people that's why when he starts his tour every year, his first stop is Kansas City, because this is where he got his start at.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So you worked concessions. You saw shows sometimes.
Yeah.
What was the theater itself like? What do you remember?
It was like an old-fashioned theater where it was outdated at the time too. But what made it so cool, you would come in the entry, you had the little ticket booth there, and Mom Williams, she always ran the ticket booth. And there was a lot of memorabilia all around with signatures on it and old pictures. And I would love to see, because I know there was pictures of my parents on the stage with Loretta Lynn, and when the theater closed, we just lost track of all of that. So, yeah, and then working concession, it was just the audience was more older crowd. It wasn't a lot of younger people. I worked concession with, I remember his name was Jeffrey. He was helping out with security. And then I worked behind a concession stand with 3 other friends of mine that we became really best friends with, like Sarah Williams. Yeah, there were weird nights. I shared this story with my husband before, which is really funny. I was working concession stand one night, and it was a full moon, and things were going crazy and stuff like that. And I had a lady walk up to me, and she goes, I got a thing of popcorn, and there is just like a lot of kernels in the bottom. So I was like, okay. And me being the nice, calm-tempered person that I am, I just went and got her another bucket of popcorn. And I stood there and said, well, here you go. She did not like that. So guess what she did? She threw it on me. So I'm standing there and I'm just breathing, and I see Mom Williams over in the corner, and she sees me, and I go, excuse me, I need to go to the restroom. So I went in the restroom and I sat down, and Sarah came in there and she's like, are you okay? And her cousin TT, which I remember her, we were really good friends. She's like, are you okay? She says, if that was me, I would have jumped over the counter and attacked that lady. I'm like, no, I'm fine, I'm okay. So I took a deep breath, went back to the concession stand and started working. And some of the customers that were there, they're just like, how are you so calm? I says, I just don't let things get to me. So yeah, it's just stories like that. And then in between intermission, after people were in intermission, me and TT and Sarah, we go sit on the back aisle and we would just watch the show with our feet up. And then as soon as the show was up, another intermission, we go back to the concession stand. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I would only do it, I did it for about a year. And then I ended up graduation from high school because I graduated in '88, and then I kind of just went on to something else.
What were Karen and Tuffy like?
They're really cool. They're kind of like a second mom and dad to me because they were just that close. We got to know their kids, little Tuffy, Sarah, and the rest of them. We'd go to their house and hang out sometimes with a cookout. I mean, it was just like having an extended family.
That's great. Do you have any memories with the Ben Franklin store or anything tied to that?
Oh, yes. There were times where I missed that store. That store was so unique. We'd go next door, and they just had everything from fabrics to little trinkets to candy. You can buy anything in there, and we would go over there like on the weekends or while the show was going on, we'd slip out the building and go next door, and that's when you can get candy for like a dime, a nickel, yeah. But it was just so big, and I loved it because it had that old country, old town feel to it. Yeah, I miss it. It kind of reminded me when I was a young kid growing up in the TGI, was it TGNY used to be around, and it was on Independence Avenue, and it reminded me a lot of that, where you can go in there and you can buy anything.
Very cool, very cool. Were you ever in the Inglewood before it was the Opry? Were you ever just?
I just went in there when it was the Opry, when they started having country singers come in.
Do you have a favorite show that you saw, or do you remember?
I actually, truthfully, I don't remember a lot of the shows. Only ones that actually come to mind is the ones when my mom and dad were singing on stage. Yeah, those are the only ones that I really remember, but all of the other ones will come through. I remember like glimpses of them, and my husband, he was like, why the time didn't you get autographs? Why didn't you do this? I was like, they were normal people to me. They weren't. It was just something, it was like something every day of my life, because I would come out and I would do it for about a year, and I got used to the music. But other than that, it's just, I didn't see them as famous people. I just saw them as everyday people. Pass by them, you talk to them and say hi, and yeah. But other than that, it's just, I can't remember a lot of shows. It's just those few with my parents on stage singing with Loretta Lynn. That's about it.
Very cool. What do you feel like, what would you say was the impact that this space had for Inglewood, for the community?
On Friday nights, it livened up the community. I remember the parking lot was full, people walking about, all the little shops around, because it wasn't just Kirkland's, it was a lot of little shops around here. And the theater was always busy, people coming in and out. The street was constantly, it almost reminded me of growing up as Nolan Road was a cruise central. People just driving up and down the street.
Do you remember when it closed, the theater?
I was gone when it closed. I remember when Grandma Williams, she passed away, and that's when I kind of lost track of it. And I think they tried to keep it open, but I think they let it go because the building was just so disarray. It needed a lot of repairs back then too.
Yeah. So what do you remember of Ma Williams passing?
It was hard because she was like a grandmother to me. We'd go visit her and see her. So it was almost like when she passed, kind of the theater kind of died. So it just kind of died with her, because she was the string, the heart that kept it together.
Absolutely. What would you like to see happen with the spaces today?
I would love it to be brought back. Because I came out here today thinking I would get to go in there and see the inside of it, just to walk down memories lane. I would love to see it come back. And I found out about this through my husband, because he's on social media. I don't do Facebook. And he was like, oh, they got Sarah Williams and all of them, they're trying to get together and save the Opry. And I mentioned Opry to a lot of people. They were like, they've never heard of the Casey Opry. And I just he was like, they're trying to save it. They're trying to save it. And then he found this on social media too, and I didn't even know about it. But I would love to see it come back. Because even when it was a theater, like a movie theater, it just wasn't the same. I would love it to come back like a stage for music, for concerts, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you have a favorite or most vivid memory of your time there, or maybe like a least favorite memory, something that stands out?
Only thing that I didn't like about it, because I did work so late at night. And most times I wouldn't get home until 3 a.m. because at the time I was in high school and I didn't drive. So I would ride, Mom Williams would take me home. And then before we went home, we all, as a group, would go out with our little money that we made that night, and we go to Perkins and eat pie. And we sit around the table and talk about the night until like 1:32 in the morning. About the time I got home, it was 3 a.m. and I was exhausted. And that's the one thing that I really remember about it, is the time that we spent together after the theater closed.
That's nice. Okay, Angela, is there anything else you'd like to share? Anything we haven't touched on?
Not really.
Okay.
I just wish I had some memorabilia, but I don't.
Your memories are memorabilia enough. This has been fantastic. So thank you so much
You're welcome.
for sharing this with
Thank
us.
you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank
okay.
you.